Salamu alaikum, everyone. Hello. Uh, hmm. This is going to be a shorter video than the others because I really don't have that much to say in terms of what's happened throughout the week. Classes have been going as usual. Arabic's still intense, so intense. I don't want to do it anymore. And the other classes have been fine, so not much going on academically. I was supposed to go to Fez on Saturday, but on Friday, me and a bunch of the kids that were supposed to do it decided instead to stay up until 1 in the morning watching Gladiator, which then gave me chronic fatigue that had been building up all week. And on top of that, I kept waking up during the night, and I woke up with a pretty bad toothache in one of my lower back molars. So, and it kept me awake for an hour. So by the time time had come to meet with everyone, my body threatened to make my life miserable if I got out of that bed, so I didn't. I really regret that. I should have just fought through it and endured it and went to Fez, but I didn't, so shame on me. But I will say, this will tie into the culture Morocco part of the video, is that probably the biggest singular event that happened to me this week was I made I guess you can call her my first Moroccan friend, Nirmini, Nirmine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm sure if she were here, she'd tell me. So I met her through one of my friends here named Dan, and her and I sat down and we talked about a multitude of things, but the one part, and it was the last topic, was she found out I was a Christian. And as most of you do not know, I'm sure most of you don't know, Muslims find Christianity very interesting, mostly for the part that just on how diverse Christianity is, why there's so many sects of it, and why there is. They just find the whole history and formulation of Christianity fascinating. So if you're a Christian and you talk to them, mostly about Christianity, but also on other religions, if you tell them what you are, they're very curious and they talk to you a lot about it. And they want to know everything, your beliefs, why you believe this. So if you engage in conversation, you have to be fully prepared to answer fully. That's the best way I can say it, to answer their questions as fully and ably as possible. So she and I sat down, I had tea, she had coffee, and we talked about it, and it was very engaging, very interesting. The only bad part about it is that I sent her a friend request on Facebook, so hopefully she does not watch all these videos, otherwise I would be incredibly embarrassed, because I don't want to make it seem like this is how it came across. But there almost was sorry, I have a bag of chips down there and I don't want it to fly away. If you can't tell, we have some weather coming in, and it's quite terrifying because over the weekend, later on this week, we had a series of rain and thunderstorms. So anytime clouds appear around here, unlike in Seattle, it actually means something a little more serious than just a bunch of drizzle that you find in Seattle. Anyway, back onto the main topic. So she and I sat down and we talked about it. It was very engaging, very interesting, but and again, I apologize if you watch this, my friend, but it almost seemed to have a slight edge of conversion. It almost seemed like some of the tone of hers and some of the questions she asked were of a nature of that she wanted to convert me. So, she didn't though. She didn't, um, but it was a very good conversation. It's one probably one of my more enjoyable ones that I've had here. One of the more enjoyable ones I've had in a while, even amongst between me and my closest friends. This conversation was one of the better ones that I've had recently, probably in the last couple of years, mostly because, um, and this ties into the whole thing, don't worry, that there's not a lot of interfaith dialogue that occurs on a daily basis or occurs in normal life. There's not enough talking about religion or any deep analysis into it, and I find that to be happening globally. And I honestly believe if we had more discussion involving religion and comparing religions to each other and just more interfaith dialogues, that we would be able to solve a lot of the tension that exists in the world, especially in the Middle East. Um, and tying into this whole topic, and the topic, of course, being religion. Another quick thing, bugs are everywhere here, so if you have a fear of bugs or you just don't like them crawling everywhere, don't come here. They're everywhere. You can't avoid them. I've tried. It's one thing when you're talking to someone and then you point your hand out at them like this, and on the tip of your finger is an ant. So, I've had that happen to me before, and it's not pleasant. But anyway, religion in general. Of course, religion in the Middle East is a very talked about subject and a very sensitive one for many, many, many different reasons. Not necessarily that people don't want to talk about it. It's just like in Christianity or Buddhism or anything like that. There are taboo subjects like the veil and the treatment of women and the pressure brought upon Islamic countries or Middle Eastern and North African countries from the West and the U.S. and Europe and all that. So in general, I've encountered it a lot here. Just what was it, Friday when I was having dinner with a bunch of the international students, we heard the call to prayer at night, and I have to admit, if you have never actually been around for the call to prayer, it's very different. It's not. I can't really describe it on any other level aside from that when it happens, its presence is known and it is acknowledged by everyone on some level. And it's, how to exactly put this? It's different. It's different in a good way because it shows you the presence and the weight religion has in this part of the world, which, in my belief, is a nice medium. It provides a nice, because of just this subject, I have to be very, very choice with my words. It provides a nice guidance to people in their daily lives, and Islam is one of the better religions that does that, given the fact that the call to prayer happens 5 times a day, and the Quran, it provides a nice provides not necessarily a manuscript, but much like the Bible. Well, yeah, much like the Bible, it provides a good manuscript of how to lead your daily life, like the Torah does for Jews, and etc., etc. So to be in this country and to experience religion on this level is an eye-opener, and it's not one that happens very often, especially in the U.S., because everything is so Christianized. It's in a sense, it's tossed about carelessly. It's used carelessly, to where the real weight and the real value of religion is not there anymore. It's misplaced in society nowadays, and I'm finding that to be more and more true, especially in my generation. And it saddens me. It really does make me very sad and almost to a point disgusted with how religion is treated in the U.S. So coming here and experiencing Islam in practice, and its occurrence in the daily lives of the people who practice in it, is definitely a great relief for me. And the fact that people freely talk about religion here is also another great relief to me. I mean, my roommate, Yassine, he throws down his rug and he prays 5 times a day. He'll stop whatever he's doing, put his rug down, and then start praying. And it's so when I hear in the news and the newscasters, they talk about political Islam and its effect of the youths and Al-Qaeda and all that. Just simply seeing my roommate practice his faith, even on campus, I saw a bunch of people go into the mosque in the center of the campus and take part in Friday prayer. It rejuvenates my understanding of religion as it takes place in people's lives, and it shows me not to fully trust what you hear in the news about just that the young generation of Muslims across the Middle East is slowly becoming radicalized and all that. Well, I mean, that is only true in the sense for other reasons, and I can get into that in the next video. But to wrap up this whole topic, is that religion is very important here, and it's not to be taken lightly. And I don't take it lightly either. So when me and Nermini sat down and we had our conversation, we were both very serious and we both took it fully to heart. But at the same time, it was cold. It never got warmer. It never got hot. It never got intense. And it never became a debate. It was purely a dialogue and an exchange of beliefs and ideas. And in that sense, we really need to have more of that in our lives and in the world. And while I'm saying this, I can say that I have looked into many religions and I've studied into many religions. And there were moments, I will admit, where the allure of certain religions is tempting, as it has been. Well, as some things are, new ideas are tempting. They're tempting to believe. They're tempting into wanting to execute. So, I'm sorry if the camera seems to be shaking a little bit. It is pretty cold out here, and there's a breeze that comes through every now and then. So I'm shaking. I'm sorry. And there were moments where when I would look into Islam or read into Islam, that I've been curious and tempted to maybe see what it might be like to be a Muslim, but through all of it, I've still remained a Christian, and I still am a Christian. So it's something that everyone needs to do. Everyone needs to feel the water every now and then, because not only does it broaden your mind about what's out there, but it also reinforces your beliefs and your faith, your commitment to your religion. That's been my discovery, and that's why I choose to engage in interfaith dialogues and to engage in studying theology. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, and everyone should do it. But I guess that's enough of my preaching. I've been up in the pew, my own pew, about it long enough. But well, I guess one final thing about it is that my roommate, Yassine, does not like to talk about religion. So when he was the first person I talked to about my interfaith dialogue, and he said he mostly doesn't like to talk about it because he had a bad encounter with some fundamental Christians when they came here, and they were very intolerant and unwilling to listen to what he had to say or to answer his questions. And all I can say is that when there are people that do that that don't want to engage in that conversation, or that when you ask them a serious question of like, well, why do you believe this? And they answer back, because it was written in the Bible, or it was in the Quran. And they take it for complete face value without actually doing some soul searching and actually studying what the material that they're supposed to believe in. There are people that are afraid to engage in the religions because their faith isn't strong enough. They fear that if they discuss these things or they talk to someone about it, that they will be they'll be converted. They'll abandon their faith. So, I mean, when people get like that, it upsets me and it unnerves me, because it shows that people are unwilling to hear what someone else has to say, or they're unwilling to answer the necessary questions. I'm not afraid to answer questions like that, and that's why I've studied religions and I've looked into religions and I talk to people about religions, because I know that regardless of what they throw at me, that I'm not gonna be moved and that I'm not gonna abandon my faith in any way, because I've made my peace with God and Jesus. So it'll be what it is. But anyway, like I said, enough of my lecture and my preaching and my testimony. I won't go Baptist on you, though. To be honest, while I have your attention, it's a little tempting. Let me tell you about Jesus. Okay, I won't get into it. Maybe one of these days I'll have a series of videos where I just talk in funny voices and accents, just to spruce things up and make things interesting. But on to announcements. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to I didn't put this video out on Sunday like I said I normally would. We had a big presentation due in Arabic, only to find out that wasn't the case. So I apologize for doing that. I was distracted and caught up in homework with that and other classes. So again, I apologize for not getting this to you in advance or at the appropriate time, however you choose to look at it. I'll try to make things more in depth. Oh, I think I heard a call to prayer all the way in Ifran. Like I said, it's impossible to avoid religion in this beautiful country. So anyway, yeah, so I'll try to make these videos more in depth. I'll try to nitpick or needle things about classes or whatever interests all of you. Um, oh, but I guess I'll end this video on a funny story. One of my friends, Colin Doyle, he, again, you remember those cats that I brought up earlier, those little demon things? So he has all of the dorms are four or five stories, and he lives on the first floor. So he left the French door open, and a cat crawled in and laid on his bed while he was sleeping. And he woke up, and he was petrified. He got scared. He was swearing and all that, and he stayed up for hours upon hours trying to figure out how to get rid of this cat. And he was afraid he contracted rabies, so he went and got himself checked. Luckily, he didn't get rabies and nothing happened. So good for him, and good that nothing bad happened to poor Colin. But still, just very funny. And I unfortunately met him the next day, right as he told me, right as I touched him, and he said, "Don't touch me. I might have rabies." And I went, "No!" So yeah, nothing bad happened to him. But on that note, again, like, comment, do whatever you want. There are some of you out there I know should be watching these videos, but they aren't. Sean Sables! So I hope to hear from all of you, and if I don't, I'll reenact Taken. I will reenact Taken. Or Tekken. Either way, it won't be pretty. Alright, see y'all later, everyone. Salamu alaikum.